actually it's pronounced Kochenderfer. Well, it looks like it's pronounced Kochenderfer. You did check yourself into a mental health facility. And I'm perfectly sane, so I think I'm going to go with Kochenderfer. But that's not my name. Extreme denial. That was easy. I'm not in denial. Oh, it's worse than I thought. I've been looking over your file for quite some time. Strange dreams, anxiety, panic attacks. I don't suffer from panic attacks. Oh, sorry, mine is panic attacks. All of which seem to stem from fish. Well, except for the panic attacks, which seem to stem from me. Tell me, what do you think is causing all this? Tell me about your family. This is a story of pirates and oceanographers, ships and airports, mothers, uncles, psychology, reverse psychology of fish and men. I'll ask you to ask yourselves this question. Who is the crazy one in this story? The Fish Story, One Man's Search for Truth, by Tim Kochenderfer. Yes, he does have the same last name as the main character. And due to the fact that I will be playing the young man, and I'm a girl... Never mind, let's get back to it. Each family has their black sheep. My uncle drank like a fish. As I got older, I began noticing my uncle also eats like a fish. I noticed other things about my uncle, such as flippers, gills, and a tail. One day, I realized my uncle was a fish. I was only 9 years old at the time, so I decided to take the case to my mother. Mom, I think Uncle Jeff is a fish. You have a wild imagination. Mom wouldn't like me. Well, there was that time before a geography test when she told me that the world was flat. Then she said I was raised by a pack of wolves in the former Soviet Union. Come to think of it, my mom had lied to me about just about everything. Your father said you're looking for a job. What? No, I'm not. Oh, your father said you should get a job. Here, I circled this for you in the paper. Help wanted. Aquarium? I circled it because I don't want you working there. You're already obsessed enough as it is about fish. What are you talking about? You know, you always want to fish at restaurants. You walk around with those fish pajamas with the footies. And every time you take a shower, you leave hundreds of goldfish behind in the bathtub. I don't do any of those things. I know. But it would be super weird if you did. My mother's worries were the furthest thing from my mind. This aquarium was home to the famous oceanographer, Dr. So-and-so. If anyone could prove that my uncle was a fish, it was him. Dr. So-and-so? Ah! Never scare me like that again! From now on, I want you to scare me like this. Rah! Okay. I'd like a job? You're hired. To start right now. Your job title shall be cleanup girl. Your duties are basically self-explanatory. So just keep the place clean, vacuum. Good heavens, no! Your job is to keep an eye on the aquarium. Make sure none of the fish escape. Okay. Dr. So-and-so, I need your help. Well, sorry, I don't do parties. I'm an oceanographer, not some clown that entertains people. I was wondering if you could help me identify a fish. Do you have a picture of this fish? Not on me. I'll be right back. Dr. So-and-so. Ah! Sweet grace of mercy, I thought I told you never to scare me like that again. Let's have a look at that fish you were telling me about. Ah, well, what you have here is not a fish at all. What is it then? It's an aardvark. What? You're holding it upside down. Ah, well, what you have here is not a fish at all. What do you think it is? It appears to be some kind of Uncle Jeff. What? No, it has gills and it's in water. I left the aquarium that day distraught. Was Dr. So-and-so in on this fish scheme? Was he just a horrible oceanographer? I decided to quit my job at the aquarium. I went to break the news to Dr. So-and-so. Dr. So-and-so? Ah! Never in my career as an oceanographer has anyone dared to scare me like that 3 times! You're fired! And that was how I lost my first job. In history class the next day, my teacher mentioned that in colonial days, a person would usually find himself by running away to a life at sea, and occasionally joining a gang of pirates. I knew that this was the only option for me. I jumped in the car and headed out to the sea, where men were men and fish were fish. Also, I picked up a hitchhiker on the way. Yar, the name's Captain Toy, but you may call me Captain Toy. The captain was a handsome man with a long black beard, an eye patch, peg leg, missing teeth, and a scarred face. Come to think of it, the captain wasn't that handsome. I'm headed out to sea to find me some, just like in the colonial days. How odd that you should mention that. Say, why don't you join us at sea for some good old-fashioned pirating? Okay. Pull over, matey! There she be! Floating nearby was the captain's ship, which we promptly boarded. Yar, we shut off in 15 minutes. Are you? Get back below deck! But you said I could come up for air when we reach the shore. Who's that? That be our pet fish. I'm not a fish. My name is Jeff. Then it'll hit me. Did you say your name was Jeff? Yeah. I was accidentally switched for a fish by pirates at the airport. Ever since then, these pirates are convinced that I'm their pet fish. So you're my real Uncle Jeff! What? I proceeded to tell Jeff the whole story and explained that I needed to bring him home to prove that he was our real uncle. Then that's what I have to do. Only problem is, these pirates won't let me leave the ship. Our only hope is to use reverse psychology. Captain, I command you not to let us leave the ship. Yar, no one tells Captain Tor what to do. I command you to leave the ship. So we did. We arrived home. The whole family will be happy to see you, I'm sure. Mom, where have you been? You think you can just run off like that? Mom, listen, this is our real uncle. He was accidentally switched for a fish by pirates years ago. I told you that fish wasn't our uncle. That's not your Uncle Jeff. To be honest, that fish we've been telling you all those years is your uncle is not your uncle. Actually, there's no such thing as your Uncle Jeff. We just made it up as a joke when you were born. What? How can you do something like this? What about me? Quiet, you. I can't believe this. How could you? I stood there, speechless. My entire childhood was a lie. My whole search for truth was pointless. Well, that's pretty much it. What's the diagnosis, doctor? The well, here. Crazy? That's all it said. Yep, I couldn't think of a word to describe it better. That story. I think I'm crazy just for having heard it. How does that help me? What do I do? Well, I'm not really trained to hear that level of crazy, so I'm going to refer you to someone. I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Sunfish. That's not a doctor. That's a fish. No, that's Dr. Sunfish. Look, I don't know what kind of shock therapy this is, but it's not. Tell the doctor the same story you told me. No. No, I will not tell that fish my problems. Coming here was a complete waste of my time. Goodbye. But Miss Kochenderfer. That's too bad, Dr. Sunfish. I really think you could have helped.
I do too, Doctor. I do too.